2,000 years ago, Pompeii was a loud, wealthy, and sophisticated commercial hub. Its narrow stone streets were packed with merchants, noisy taverns, and thousands of residents moving through a typical Roman morning. Mount Vesuvius stood nearby like an ordinary mountain. Citizens stubbornly adapted to its earlier warning signs, like the massive earthquake of AD 62, continuing their repairs and renovations even as pressure built deep underground. The popular image of a single massive explosion that instantly vaporized the population misses the reality found in the ground. Archaeological evidence shows that when the eruption began, it didn't kill everyone at once. In fact, thousands of people survived the initial opening of the mountain. Vesuvius functioned as a series of interlocking, multi-staged traps. To understand the massive death toll, we have to look at the specific volcanic phases that slowly closed every possible exit. The trap opened with a Plinian eruption. Magma and volcanic gases forced their way upward until the mountain broke open, launching a sky-darkening column of ash and rock fragments miles into the atmosphere. In this initial phase, the danger came from above. Pumice and lapilli began raining down on Pompeii in stages, steadily burying the streets beneath several feet of volcanic material. Residents faced a binary choice, with no safe outcome: run outside and risk being battered by falling rocks, or stay indoors and risk the roof collapsing under the sheer weight of the accumulating debris. We know people were making desperate attempts to flee as the pumice fell. In a street in Reggio 5, archaeologists discovered the remains of a man who had successfully survived this first phase and was trying to navigate the buried city. He was found with 20 silver denarii and 2 bronze coins, the heavy, physical evidence of a man who stopped to grab his life savings before running into the ash. His presence proves that the first phase of the eruption wasn't an instant end, but a terrifying, agonizing race against a city that was rapidly burying itself. For the survivors huddled in the darkness, the volcano then offered a psychological trap, a sudden pause in the rain of rock. This brief quiet likely tricked many into believing the worst was over, causing them to hesitate when they should have been moving. The mountain was simply resetting. A massive roar signaled the arrival of the final phase, as pyroclastic currents began racing down the mountain slope at hurricane speeds. These were superheated mixtures of gas and volcanic material, moving so rapidly they hugged the contours of the ground, incinerating everything in their path. Architecture offered no protection. The currents flowed fluidly through open doorways, cracks in the walls, and narrow alleys, reaching anyone who had chosen to hide indoors. This final wave was the absolute killer. It reached into every room and basement in Pompeii, instantly transforming every supposedly safe hiding spot into a dark, superheated tomb. When the currents settled, the city went silent. Pompeii was completely gone, buried under meters of hardened volcanic deposits. This destruction created an incredible paradox. The same volcanic material that killed the city served as a vault, perfectly locking a Roman commercial world into an airtight time capsule. Because of this seal, we can see highly ordinary moments interrupted mid-second, like this carbonized loaf of Roman bread, still bearing the baker's score marks from 2,000 years ago. During excavations, archaeologists began discovering empty cavities inside the hardened ash. These were the voids where human bodies had been encased before eventually decomposing over the centuries. In the 19th century, Giuseppe Fiorelli began pouring liquid plaster into these spaces. As the plaster hardened, it took the shape of the void inside. These resulting casts are terrifying, exact negative impressions of human beings. They capture the precise microsecond of impact, preserving the final posture of every victim the moment the flow reached them. Pompeii remains an active investigation, where modern analysis is still actively refining the timeline of the disaster. While history traditionally dated the eruption to August 24th, recent archaeological finds, including charcoal inscriptions and seasonal food remains, now lead researchers to believe the city actually fell in October. Walking through these domestic spaces today feels different from any other ruin. The frescoes and clay amphorae are still in their original positions, creating an eerie sense that the residents just stepped out of the room. Pompeii is the only place on Earth where you can witness the abruptly frozen final seconds of a civilization that had absolutely no idea it was about to disappear.